That night, the air outside Silverbird Lounge was thick, thick with perfume, sweat, shame, and scattered insults. Kemi stood barefoot. One heel was meeting. Her bra strap had caught, her wig hanging like bad behavior on her left ear. In her hand, she held her broken iPhone, shaking, not from cold, but from rage and blood. There was blood trickling from her nose. One of the girls had slapped her with a phone or with a clutch bag she couldn't even remember. She just knew the night had turned into what it always turned into, another episode of Catch Kunle red-handed. And once again, she ended up fighting in public. A small crowd had gathered, Lagos people and their love for drama. Someone shouted, "Auntie, leave am. Go and hold your husband. He's the one that cheated. Why are you disgracing yourself? Leave the girl alone." But Kemi wasn't listening. In fact, she didn't even care. Some people were even recording. Her eyes were swollen, her lace wig sliding off. But what pained her most was that Kunle was standing there, right there, rubbing the back of the girl she had just fought, patting her like she was the victim. He didn't even look angry. He looked tired. "Why are you always embarrassing me?" Kunle asked, adjusting his wristwatch like she was one random street hawker disturbing him. "Embarrassing you?" Kemi backed, panting. "You're parading yourself with a girl sitting on your lap in public, a married man like you, and you say I'm the embarrassment?" Kunle hissed. "You've turned to a street fighter now, Abi? You want to win black belt? Okay now, continue." And with that, he walked away with the girl. Kemi stood there, surrounded by strangers. Makeup was ruined, her chest was heaving, and in that moment it hit her like thunder. She wasn't fighting for love anymore. She was fighting for leftovers. This was the fourth time in 3 weeks. Fourth woman, fourth drama. She had lost count of how many girls she had fought, insulted, threatened, but the more she fought them, the more Kunle humiliated her. That night as she walked back to her car, people still staring at the blood all over her and the madness in her eyes, her hands kept shaking, not from fear, but from memory, because it wasn't always like this. There was a time when she thought she had won, a time when she looked at her best friend in the eye and smiled, while secretly plotting to steal what didn't belong to her. And so she sat in the car. Her eyes were red, her heart loud. She whispered to herself, "Kai, Kemi, what have you done?" And that's where it begins. The story of a woman who snatched her best friend's husband and inherited a hurricane dressed in fine suits. Before the fights, before the side chicks, before the disgrace, there was a friendship, a real one. It was Kemi and Sade's. They were not just close friends, they were inseparable. From the moment they met during their first year in Uniloring, something just clicked. They shared food, textbooks, secrets, and dreams of love that would sweep them off their feet. Kemi was the bold one, always polished, always smart with her tongue, the kind of woman that could silence a room with just a raised brow. Shade was the softer soul, gentle, loyal. Their friendship blossomed even up to their NYSC. And after their NYSC, they both got a job in a microfinance bank until Shade met Kunle. When Shade met Kunle, Kemi was the first to know. It happened during a lunch break. Shade had stepped out of the bank to grab a quick lunch when a man in a black G-Wagon pulled up beside her. He wound down and said, "Excuse me, are you real or did I just imagine the most beautiful woman in Lagos?" Shade laughed and shook her head. "Abeg, all you dis Lagos men, please carry your wahala and go." But Kunle was persistent, polite, clean and respectful. Shade and Kemi worked in the same office, so they were very close. She told her what transpired that day that she met Kunle. And then there were long calls, text messages. Kemi often teased her. "I so love the blind people. Oh. 1 month and you're already blushing like tomato." They laughed. Kemi was genuinely happy for her friend at first. When Kunle proposed to Shade, both of them were super excited. Kemi helped plan the bridal shower. She was even her chief bridesmaid. Few months after the wedding, Shade won't stop talking about Kunle. He asked me to quit the banking job that is stressful and that he didn't want me to stress myself. That he wants me to set up a boutique and he was going to pay for all the expensive. Kunle is this. Kunle is so hardworking. Kunle is so caring. Kunle is so generous. Kemi would just smile and clap for Shade. "Wow, you chose the best breed, oh." And Shade would smile. One day, Kemi visited Shade in her house. Shade brought out a large jewelry box filled with earrings and necklaces. Can you imagine all these things Kunle bought for me from his last trip? My husband is amazing, she said. He even said we'd be traveling to Zanzibar for our next honeymoon. Kemi smiled again. But this time, something in her chest tightened because while Shade was being flown to Zanzibar for their second honeymoon, Kemi was dating Bayo, a struggling crypto boy who lived in boys' quarters and was always asking for urgent 2K. She had once given him 50,000 naira to invest and he used it to buy a new phone. When she complained, he replied, you sef be calming down. If I hammer, na you and I go enjoy. But she never enjoyed, she only endured. One evening, after Shade posted photos of her and Kunle in matching Ankara at a resort in South Africa, Kemi lay in her hot room in Ogudu, fanning herself with a flyer and listening to Bayo complain about how she was too independent. That night, jealousy entered her heart like a whisper. It didn't come loud, it came slow, like water leaking into wood. Then one fateful Tuesday, Kunle walked into the bank. Shade had told Kemi that Kunle would be coming. He had come to open a corporate account. Kemi greeted him all smiles. He smiled back. His perfume was strong as she filled his form. He said lightly, you're getting prettier by the day, Kemi. Kemi paused, looked up, smiled. Thank you, sir, she replied, but her heart was doing backflips. Ah, that smile can melt an iron in seconds, Kunle continued. Thank you again, Kemi replied. That night, she played the compliment over and over in her head like a song. It was small, but coming from Kunle, the almighty Kunle, it was something. The next day, he sent a follow-up email about the account. He ended it with, thanks Kemi, you were very helpful and refreshing to speak with. And just like that, the thought was born. A dangerous silent thought. Maybe, maybe I deserve him too. And from that single moment, Kemi began to unbutton her loyalty, one thread at a time. It started with harmless replies. Then one morning, Kunle sent her a text at about 2:13 a.m. You're different, Kemi. Talking to you is so refreshing. Makes me feel seen. Kemi read it twice, then screenshotted it and read it again. She didn't reply that night, but by morning, she wore her best wig to work. That bouncy one with center part just in case Kunle showed up. Kunle didn't come that week, but the seed was already growing. Kemi stopped talking about her boyfriend, Bayo. He stopped picking his calls. Suddenly, the thought of Bayo irritated her because her taste had shifted. Meanwhile, Shade, despite her external glow, was dying inside. Her boutique was booming, her Instagram account always with captions like, softness looks good on me. But she saw everything. How Kunle would always safeguard his phone around her. How he woke up late in the night when he thought Shade was asleep to make calls in low tones. The endless transactions that beeped on his phone with titles like, that's for hair, shoes, clothes. Shade knew, but she had told herself, I would rather focus on his positives. One day, he would change. But he never did. And while everything was chaotic within the home, Shade preached and portrayed Tunde like the best man on earth, not only to Kemi, but to anyone who cared to listen to her. Weeks turned into months, and as months turned into years, their marriage grew sour. Kunle was now seeing Kemi more and more often. One afternoon, Shade invited Kemi over to the house. They talked, laughed, and played like old times as they were eating. Shade leaned closer and said, you know what's crazy? Sometimes I wake up and I still can't believe Kunle is mine. She giggled. That man is God sent. He knows how to take care of a woman, she said. Later, as they cleaned up the dishes, Shade said, it's true, Kemi. Kunle told me he came to your bank the other day and that you were really helpful and polite. Then she laughed. That's my Kemi. Always sweet. Kemi smiled again, but her chest was burning. The fire was no longer quiet. She wanted Kunle too. 3 weeks later, Kunle came back to the bank. This time, something was different. He wasn't there for business. He was there for her. He wore a white kaftan, clean shave, no wedding ring. He leaned over her desk and whispered, Hope you've not missed me too much. Kemi blushed. I don't even notice you're gone. He laughed. You're dangerous, but I like you. And then he paused. Do you like me? Kemi didn't respond, but her eyes did. That night, Kemi stared at the ceiling, pondering on the question Kunle had asked. She obviously liked his status, his money, and everything he had going on with her friend Shade. Of course he liked him. At least more than the broke crypto boy she was spending all her savings on hoping he would marry her. Then she asked herself, if Shade doesn't know, is he really bad? Was it betrayal? And that one thought began her entire journey. Not with her body, but with her mind. And once the mind goes, the body will follow. My gist lovers, a quick one before we continue this story. If your best friend's man starts flirting with you and you're struggling financially, would you walk away or would you let the temptation win? Be honest. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And please, if you're enjoying this gist so far, like, subscribe, and share this story with someone who needs to learn a few things from it. Now let's continue because this gist is just warming up. The first physical contact Kemi and Kunle had wasn't a kiss. It was a touch. Innocent, soft, accidental, or so it looked. They were walking out of the bank. Kunle had stopped by late in the evening after most staff had gone. He said he had questions about his new account. But they didn't talk about the account when they met. They talked about life, stress, marriage. She told him how tired she was. He told her how lonely he had become. Shade is always busy, he said. Every time she's always around, even when we are together. It's like we are apart. Kemi nodded slowly. Sometimes being seen is all someone really wants. Then she stumbled slightly on the pavement and Kunle instinctively caught her by the wrist. Their eyes locked. They didn't say anything. Didn't mean to. That brief moment said everything. They went to a nearby restaurant that evening. They laughed and talked for hours. From there, it got easier. They started texting each other, late night messages. Are you awake? I'm bored. I need someone to talk to. You're so funny. I enjoy your company. You make me feel alive again. And then it graduated to small gifts, perfume, necklace, even an envelope worth 200k on her birthday. But Kemi wasn't stupid. She knew what she was doing. She just didn't care anymore. She told herself, I've suffered too much, I beg. Maybe God is using another woman's mistake to bless me. One Saturday morning, Kunle picked her up from the salon. Shade had traveled to Ibadan for a burial. Kemi wore black jeans and a simple silk blouse, nothing serious. They went to a restaurant in Ikoyi, a hidden, expensive and quiet place. Kunle sat across from her, smiling. His phone was face down, his eyes were soft. You know what I've realized, he said. Peace is a person, and that person is you. I don't know how I didn't meet you before your friend. Kemi blushed. Then he reached across the table and touched her hand, gently, like someone afraid she might disappear. Kemi, his voice cracked a little. Don't let me go. You're the one my heart wants. Kemi didn't reply, but her actions did. She took his hands, both of them, and cupped them in hers, held them like something she had been longing for, like something her soul had been thirsty for. That night, they slept in each other's arms in a hotel close by. The next day, Kunle returned home with lipstick on his chest and Kemi in his heart. And Shade, who had spent the weekend buying her shebi, laughing with aunties and bragging about her ever-loving husband, didn't know that her friend, the friend she trusted, was now one of the many women her husband desired. And even though Shade could feel it, she couldn't quite explain it because something had shifted. Because even though Kunle would always sneak around with hidden agenda written all over him, he still made her feel seen, made her feel loved. But now, he walked past her like furniture. At first, she blamed herself. Maybe I've become too boring. Maybe I've changed. So she tried harder to make him see her. She wore the perfume he once said he liked. She would make his favorite delicacies and even rub his feet, cracking dry jokes while Kunle scrolled on his phone. But still, he wouldn't even look at her in the eye. Then came the first crack. She found the receipt in his jeans pocket, 68,000 from the restaurant in Ikoyi, on that date that she had gone for burial. Kunle has said he stayed at home, watched football, ate the meal she prepared. But here was the paper proof. 2 meals. Her hands began to shake, not because of the money, but because of the lies. They were compounding and were getting too obvious. That evening, when he returned from work, she tried to talk to him. Kunle, is there something you want to tell me? He looked at her briefly, then he looked away. No. Why are you asking? She paused. You have changed. We have changed. I can feel it. He shrugged. Ha, maybe you're imagining things. He walked past her without saying another word. Shade did what most women do when they're afraid to face the truth. Something she had never done since her marriage with Kunle. She called her best friend Kemi. Babe, I think Kunle is cheating on me. On the other end of the call, Kemi stayed quiet for a second, then gave a small tired sigh. Ha! Cheating, she repeated. Shade nodded, even though no one could see her. He has been very distant lately. Too distant. He hides his phone. He's always busy. I'm scared, Kemi. I don't want to lose my man. I don't want to lose my marriage. Kemi chuckled softly, the kind of laugh that wears a mask. Babe, what are you talking about? Let me tell you the truth. If Kunle is cheating, then you need to leave him. Shade blinked. What are you talking? Yes, now. How can you be staying with a cheating man? Cheating should be your deal breaker, abeg. I'm telling you this thing because I care about you. Protect your peace, my sister. The moment a man starts cheating, pack your bag and leave. Don't give him room to finish you emotionally. You can't be sharing roof and bed with someone you don't even trust. That's slow poison, and before you know, you die. Before you will carry one disease from outside and bring it to you like souvenir. Shade felt her stomach twist. But it's not that easy now. You know these things. We are married and it's barely even 2 years. We've built something together. And so what? You want to stay in bondage because of one marriage certificate? Abeg o. If that's the problem, you tear the document. I will help you and come and pack your load, babe. You are too fine to be dragged through gutter love. You need real love. Leave that man now and find someone who knows your worth, not one that will be using you to test his foolishness. Then Kemi softened her voice. You know that no matter what, I'll always be here for you. Shade nodded slowly. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Kemi. That's just what I needed to hear. But what Shade didn't know was that the same Kemi who offered her advice to leave Kunle was also the same Kemi who called Kunle immediately after. Kunle, we can't keep doing this thing in secret anymore. Your wife is suspecting us. You know we can't handle like this forever. You have to tell her about us. You have to choose if you really care about me or you care about her. And if it's her you like, then you know that you have to leave me alone. Don't wait for her to catch us red-handed. Her voice softened, but her words remained sharp. I didn't come into your life to be hidden, Kunle. I deserve better than sneaking around all the time like a thief. But Kunle was torn between comfort and convenience. He loved the softness in Kemi's voice, the way she made him feel wanted, worshipped her even. With Kemi, there was no pressure, just peace. But his wife nagged him once in a while. She was a good woman, loyal, faithful, and that was the problem. How do you send away someone who hasn't done anything wrong to you? Every time he looked at her, guilt gripped his chest. But every time Kemi called, desire pulled him like a magnet. He wanted to do the right thing, but the right thing wasn't exciting. So Kunle sat at the edge of his bed, phone still in his hand, staring at nothing. Weeks passed and then months. Kemi grew tired of waiting for Kunle to send Shade away, waiting for Kunle to make her his legal wife. She had tried poisoning Shade's mind to leave Kunle, yet, despite her best advice, Shade had still stayed back. She wanted that ring, the respect, the title, Mrs. Kunle. But each time he spoke to Kunle about it, Kunle kept postponing. After 6 months, he said the next month, 7 months, 8 months. Shade sat in her bedroom thinking of the best way to get Kunle to get rid of Shade for good. And so she got an idea. That evening, she invited Kunle to her house. She wore a long silk gown, nothing loud. When Kunle came in, She tried all her best to make him relax, but Kunle was somehow restless that day. Kunle, do you really love me? Kemi asked. I do, but you see, this thing with Sade, he started. I need to find the right time to end it. Sade hasn't done anything wrong to me, and you know it. Kemi smiled, but her eyes were hard. That's what you've been saying for the past 8 months now. Kunle sighed. I know, but she's my wife. I can't just send her away. And Sade is a good woman. She cares about me. And she has been a great wife. Ha! Good woman, Kemi scoffed. And then she leaned forward. Her voice dropped. Do you know she aborted a baby in 2017? Kunle paused. Kemi continued. She never told you, Abi? Of course not now. She can't tell you that part of her. You will only see the good woman. Do you know the worst part? She doesn't even know the father of the child she was carrying before she aborted it. Maybe because she was having multiple partners. She sat back and sipped her drink. I'm not judging her, but Sade is not what she seems, Kunle. She has secret lies, secrets. And the earlier you send her out of your life, the better for you. That night, Kunle didn't speak. Immediately he got home, he stormed into the room, screaming at the top of his voice. Why did you hide it from me? How could you hide such a thing from me? You're a witch, Sade. So you aborted a baby and you never told me about it. You got pregnant from different men and you come here to act all pious when you're actually a dirty, stinking liar. How can I trust you as my wife? Sade tried to explain, but Kunle shouted her down. Keep quiet, he screamed. By tomorrow morning, I need you to leave this house quietly. And just like that, Sade was driven out of the house. Sade sat outside the gate, barefoot, her hand resting on her traveling bag. That morning, the early morning sun beat her down. Neighbors were passing, looking at her. No one asked. Inside the compound, her husband was in the shower. And somewhere in Ikoyi, her best friend was opening champagne, rejoicing that her plan had finally worked. My just lovers, imagine telling your best friend your deepest secret and years later, she's using it to destroy your marriage. What would you do? Please drop your comments in the comment section. Part 2 will be out soon. Thank you for watching.